special good morning to those of you listening to Classic Radio 105.5, 105.9 on the FM dial. Good morning. Those of you viewing GBN TV, Channel 7, Channel 11, Channels 20, good morning to you also. Welcome to this edition of To The Point. Today, Tuesday, the 5th day of March, 2024. It's Opposition Tuesday here on Classic Radio and GBN TV, which part of To The Point this morning. And with me this morning, I have Dr. Jullie Bois with me this morning, and also Miss Tricia Simon. I always say good morning to both of you, and welcome to The Point. Good morning, ladies. How are you this morning?
Good morning. Good, thank you.
Good morning, JT. Good.
All
nice
right.
to be here.
Nice to have you both with me this morning. Our conversation this morning will definitely range along the lines of International Women's Day, which will be coming up on March the 8th. And let me say good morning to Tricia once again. Hope you don't mind me calling you on a first name basis. I just like calling people on a first name basis for some reason or the other. So not everybody does be happy with it, but sometimes I just say first name basis.
As well.
Tricia as well. It's your name, right? Tricia, right? Anyway, good morning. So we're talking about International Women's Day today, and both of you being women in general. Over the years, we have seen various events that mark International Women's Day coming up on the 8th. What's 2024 International Women's Day coming up? What's the significance of it this time around, this year? If I could ask a question of that nature. Who's going to grab it?
Okay,
Who's grabbing?
I think for me, it's looking back. Every journey you make, you have to look at where you've been, where you are presently, and where you are going. Mm-hmm. And this year, as Grenada celebrates 58 years of independence, I think it's really important for us as a nation, for us as women especially, to take stock, and our men to take stock and say, where are we? Where are we going? Where do we want to go?
All right. Now, Grenada's also celebrated 50 years of independence. We're still in that celebratory mood of 50 years. Now, it's post the actual date, February the 7th. Women in Grenada, from your point of view, now maybe both of you could respond to this particular question. How has women grown in Grenada as for 50 years of independence?
I think that women have grown across the board.
Yeah.
By way of women in professions, women in trades, women in, just different aspects of life. And many moons ago, there were no women parliamentarians in Grenada.
Yes.
Then with Sir Eric, he grafted in some women, or drafted them into his parliament and cabinet and so. And over the years, we've seen many women parliamentarians emerge in Grenada. And I think the New National Party, under the leadership of Dr. Keith Mitchell, has drafted in the most women that we've seen in our history.
All right.
And I must say that they have performed excellently. Nobody's perfect, but their involvement in the affairs, especially the governmental affairs of the country, has attributed to the growth of our country. And we never used to see women. We had women laborers, okay? But we never had women farmers, like owning the land and, caring for the families in a big way. And we've seen women come forward on that level. We've seen women get into construction. And in our day, when I was little, we never had that happening. In the medical field, you had mostly male people, males. Yes, you hardly had women physicians.
Look at for you, for example. You go back just, let's say, 30 years ago, 40 years ago, there were minimal amount of women who were considered as being a dental surgeon as you are.
That's
you understand?
Right.
Minimal women doing that. So we have seen, if we keep it at a Grenadian economy, we have seen the growth of women in Grenada.
Mm-hmm. And as you mentioned that, in Grenada right now, we have more female dental surgeons than male.
Yeah. Oh, really?
Yes.
That's interesting.
It's like maybe 80%.
All women?
Yes.
All right.
Yes. And so we have seen women emerge and grow, and it makes us hopeful for the future that women will continue to grow. I'm yet to see, and I stand corrected, I'm yet to see a Grenadian become a pilot.
Female,
yeah. So
probably
I stand
there is
corrected.
some part of the world that we haven't known of yet.
There.
Right.
But so these are some of the areas in which we have grown.
All right.
And I must say that it's a great thing for us.
Right. Tricia, your take.
Yeah, I think for me, I grew up with my grandmother, and my family and your family forms a critical part of who you are, and traditionally you would see, from Africa, and I'm wearing my African dress today to celebrate my African heritage. You would see that it was the women who were the ones that formed that nucleus of keeping the family together, and that's important. But also something that I see is, as I see our women rise, I see our men fall on the wayside. And I think, practicing, because I practice law, I think we need some balance so that women need to remember not only bringing your daughters to helping your daughters rise, but helping your son rise. Because if we don't have that balance, what will happen is we have chaos. And so women, I think we need to take that role and help our sons, help our brothers, help our men. And I think that is critical for our growth as a society. Because if you look what you'd see, women, you're correct. My father said he went to his daughter's graduation. She graduated from SGU as a doctor. And he said, oh my goodness, there were 13 of them. One guy who was from Guyana, not even Grenada, and all the rest were female. And I mean, I walked because I don't know how to drive, and I would see, you drive and you see our men, our young men who are, remember during this times of slavery, it was the young men. They form a critical role in society. You see them on the side of the road. They either drink, the majority, well, a significant portion, I don't want to say the majority. They're drinking, they're smoking. And so we need, as mothers, as women, whether we're partners, as sisters, as brothers, as sisters, as aunts, all the females, I think we need to take a look and see how we can help our men.
All right. And happy that you also mentioned it, because we're talking how women has grown in Grenada, and you just sort of say, of course, you practice law. How has that also been significant in Grenada for women in terms of being a lawyer? So we do see a significant amount of them who are lawyers.
Yes, I think it speaks to the power and the strength of a woman, that despite your adversities, and I have challenges, like people look at me and challenges, it's every day you have challenges.
Yes.
But what do you do with it? You sometimes, if you have gospel, you make gospel juice.
You make use of what you have.
You make use of what you have. And so the reality is that we do have a lot of female lawyers. But the other reality is that when it comes to making those critical decisions, it is still men who are making them. And I think at the end of the day, we have to realize we're people, whether we are male or female. Because remember when Margaret Thatcher was the Prime Minister of the UK, we thought that she would have been maybe a little bit softer because
she was called the Iron Woman.
Exactly. And as you say something about that, I read an article yesterday about, what was she called? The mayor of Sierra Leone in Africa.
Yeah.
One of the cities. And she spoke about how when women are progressing, we are denigrated and seen as, well, a little pushy. Too aggressive, a little this, and she said that when it comes to a man, it's seen as strength, and why is it that as a woman, I must admit, I must say this, my son, who's biracial, he said, I'm not dating black women. So I said, well, why? He said, black women are too aggressive. I said, but wait, only one black woman he had to really contend with, because the reality is that when he falls short, I let him know that. And I think maybe it's sometimes is the approach. Because my mother would get him to do things, but she's a little bit softer.
Okay.
Where I could be a little bit aggressive.
Yeah.
So,
well, I think you being the mother part of it, you would say.
Yeah, man. My mother would say, and I'm like, no. But he is, I don't want to use perfect, no, but he good now.
All right.
You know, so and so again, it comes back to us as women, us as mothers, you know, helping our children. When we see them going astray, we're supposed, like my mother would look at the clock if I have an appointment. She's like, "You still home?" And make sure that we help to raise a nation. This is about Grenada and it's about the world. And as long as, and this is where, we're supposed to be the nurturers. So it is when we see ills of society, we as women need to take stock and say, how can I help? How can I do better?
All right. Dr. Louis, when we started this conversation a little off here, you were speaking about a particular theme that you want to press some focus on.
Uh-huh.
Could you speak on that?
Yes. Excuse me. The theme that we are focusing on this year is invest in women, accelerate progress.
All right.
Invest in women, accelerate progress.
Define that for me a wee bit. Define it for me in a wee bit.
Now, this society is made up of male and female.
Yes.
Right? In the past, when we look back historically, the woman's place was mainly to stay at home and raise a family. Mainly. Mm-hmm. Right? Now, over the years, this has revolutionized. And we have seen how women, like we said earlier, have become involved in, I think I can take the liberty to say, every aspect of life with regards to professions, trades, careers, and so on. Women have become involved in all that. And because of that, we can say that the world can become a better place, because once you have more investment in education, in life, in, like I said, getting involved in all the professions and all that, then there is more productivity. And so life can be better for the country and for the individual. So if we invest in our women, then we can see progress. As long as these women take the opportunities and run with them and give back and produce, then we can see progress, not just in the home, not just in the community, not just in the country, but in the region and in the entire world. So I think that this is a great topic to encourage the women who may be still feeling intimidated or despondent or doubtful, that they can get on board, and you're never too old to get involved, and it doesn't have to be academics, because we all have different strengths and we all have different talents. Right. So it's what you are capable of, taking that and growing it.
Men may put up the challenge to this particular theme and say, women is always seen as the weaker sex for some reason or the other. Let's say I raise this microphone and a man may say, "Oh, let me help you." You understand? let me help you, because it always seems that women is always incapable, as we would say. Women are incapable of this, women capable. But you were saying, with your female, you're saying women are capable of doing anything, as you spoke about a while ago. Women are capable of everything. Now there are women who plays a role and do things that most men, are unable to do sometimes. You understand? So from your point of view and from the theme that you spoke of, it's just a matter of allowing women to do what they are capable of doing. Would you agree with me with that?
I would. And in terms of your statement, I think that women are the weaker sex. I think, and this is my opinion, that it more comes to physical things. Mm-hmm. So physically, we may be weaker, but emotionally, if a man has a problem, who are you going to? Either your wife or your mother?
I agree.
Like, really? You know what I'm saying? Either your wife or your mother.
It's very rare a man will go to another man for some reason. It's very rare.
Exactly.
Even though they have to, but it's on a rare occasion.
And the first person, you remember your mother carried you for 9 months. Yes. 9 months. And so that's the close, and then breastfeed you for how much months, you understand? And so that is the person you're closest to. And I think it at times it's a power struggle. It's a power struggle for, I don't, what came to mind, I wouldn't say it, for who's stronger. And strength, you have different types of strength. You know, you have physical strength, you have emotional strength, you have psychological strength. And so I see it in my practice where as a woman rises, a lot of the men, as you said, feel insecure. And that shouldn't happen. But on the other hand, the woman has to be fair. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
And realize what we you know, if the man has been providing for 20 years, when I rise, it is not mine. I think how it goes, what is yours is ours, and what is mine is mine.
Yeah.
So we need to have some balance and make sure that there's strength, because it takes strength for you to be able to share.
There's always a saying that, you know, a man will say, a woman will say, there's a saying, let me see if I can get it right. What is a woman's zone is a woman's zone. But what is a man's zone is a man and a woman.
Yeah, and that's not.
Let's take a break. When we come back, I want to get into the conversation of the role of women. A wee bit in a Grenadian society, role of the woman in the world. A wee bit. We're probably going to have a discussion about that when we do come back. Okay. Hey, folks, stay with us. It's To The Point here on Classic Radio GBN TV. We'll be right back after the break. Stay with us.
Planning and Development Authority of Grenada, PDA, is enforcing regulations to curb illegal, disorderly, and unauthorized development in several locations throughout the state of Grenada. The authority is concerned that structures mainly associated with vending are negatively impacting the environment, has undesirable public health and sanitation consequences, present obstructions to vehicle and pedestrian traffic, can become projectiles during adverse weather conditions, and generally affect the aesthetics of the nation. The PDA will work along with stakeholder ministries and institutions to effect the demolition, removal, and disposal of structures which fall in the category of illegal and disorderly development, commencing January 2024. In this regard, persons who vend in or occupy such illegal structures are advised to secure their personal belongings and have the structures removed ahead of the planned PDA demolition operations. These actions of the PDA have become necessary to safeguard and protect public health and the environment, ensure the safety and well-being of all citizens and visitors, discourage any future disorderly construction, and encourage compliance to regulations pertaining to physical development in the state of Grenada. This is a message from the Planning and Development Authority of Grenada.
No, that's not how you cross the pedestrian crossing.
Really? One day I just woke up and I saw pedestrian crosswalks on the road. No one really showed me how to use them properly.
Well, this is how it's done. You never cross before doing these things. They might save your life. First, when you get to the crosswalk, you stop. You look left, you look right. If there's a vehicle coming, you put your hand out, making eye contact with the driver, indicating that you want to cross. And only when the vehicle comes to a complete stop, you quickly cross to the other side.
Stop, look, hand out, eye contact. Wait for pedestrian to cross to the other side, then you happily continue on your journey. This message is brought to you by this group of insurance companies, the Traffic Advisory Body, and the Traffic Department.
Welcome back, listeners. Welcome back, viewers, to The Point for today, Tuesday, the 5th of March. Welcome back to my guest. Good morning to those of you viewing and listening via our online platforms, whether it's a YouTube channel, the Facebook page. Good morning. Those of you via GBN's webpage, gbn.gd. Good morning to you, and thanks for being with us this morning. Let me say once again, welcome back to my guest this morning. As I mentioned before the break, we had a little off-air this discussion about it, but I still would pose a question. The role of women in a Grenadian society, the role of women in the world today. Who wanted to, of course, give your interpretation of it when we say the role of women?
I think for me personally that the role of a woman should be to help build society. And that's broad. So, I mean, we can talk
To
about
build,
that.
yes.
But build society means keep your family together. You understand? So that means your partner, your sister, your brother, because the family is, as I said before, it forms the basis of any society. You know,
Yeah.
it's some things are we all bleed and we all have a family. And family sometimes we may think is your mother, your father, your brother, but that could be extended family. And so I think we as women need to realize the role we play in terms of keeping our family together.
If I could rephrase the whole question and say the role of women in a modern society.
Still the same.
Still the same.
Still
I
the
mean,
same.
if you go back to women 40 years ago, I always like to use the word 40 for some reason. You go back 40 years ago and you take up the typical woman in a society today, playing the role that you both play. You understand? It's a whole lot different. You know, so women in a model, you saying it's the same role.
It's the same, because think about it. You still have children, you have a partner, you may have your parents to look after. Society has not, we've made progress, but I mean, the base, like water's water. You understand what I'm saying? What you do, you can only do certain, well, for now, you can only do certain things with
But
water.
would you say, have you seen women developed?
Of course. In a lot of different ways. As Dr. Dubois said, we have developed in terms of our careers. We have developed in terms of, we were just talking about domestic abuse. And developing in your career has made, would make a woman say, me at time with that, and I gone. You understand what I'm saying? But there's a double-edged sword with that, because, and I see it, and I'm saying this because I practice family and I do a lot of family law, a lot of divorces, a lot of family law. Like for some reason, the divorce rate in Grenada is extremely high. One of the reasons is because, I'm making more money than you, and I'm financially independent.
And that's from the woman's side of it?
Yes, so we are now financially independent, so we don't take in no stupidness, like your mother would have had to stick in the marriage because, Lord, how she managed these 9, and it was 9 children in them days,
Yeah.
how she managed those 9 children. Now you have 1 or 2 child and you're making more money than him. Trust me, when I went to law school, there were 13 black students, 3 guys and all 10 girls. So you're making more money than him, and so I think the role still, it still has to be the same. It should always, that's just my opinion.
Yes.
And we need to have balance. We need to have balance where, our men need to step up. The reality is that if you're a man, you need to step up and know your responsibility is to do X, Y, Z. So if you see your partner making upward movements, you're not insecure, you don't, and you don't have those challenges.
All right. But would it be okay to say, well, of course, as you mentioned, women are now dominating a lot of the career fields that usually were typically dominant by men before. And would it be okay to say that a man should step aside and allow a woman to be to play that lead role in the family? I mean,
I don't think so.
You don't think-
I think I don't think about the step aside. I think it's all about finding a balance in that relationship.
Yeah.
Albeit that the woman might be making more money, the
yeah.
income is higher, but that should not affect a family
Dynamic.
It should
It
not
shouldn't, but
affect
sometimes it do affect. 'Cause now a
It
man,
does, yes.
some men will get the feeling of being belittled for some reason or the other. She's the breadwinner of the family right now. Some women may take the advantage of feeling, well, I could probably speak to him as I want because I'm the one that is bringing in that heavier income. You understand? So
we need to be humble.
Yes.
I'm not looking at it in that
Yes,
particular way,
yes,
but
yes.
sometimes I have speaking to men who have said, well, I cannot do as I want anymore because the wife is the one that is making that income. She's the one that is practically taking care of the family. Well, maybe one time I used to, and I have permitted her to get that education she's wanted through the course of the year. While the progress of her doing that, getting the education and everything, now she has become the main breadwinner. And for some women will decide, well, Now that I have become the breadwinner, he has to chill.
I am.
But we have to go back to basics. And the pride and the arrogance should not step in. You see, when we become that overconfident and that so independent, then for some people who can't control it, it will bring in an element of discord because disrespect will set in and all that. Yes. So I am saying that what is first? Is the relationship first? Or is it your pocket first, you know? So these things should not be, you know, and I have seen instances, and even on television, when you ask, you know, they have shows, game shows. I've seen some of the game shows, and when they ask the men, what do you do? He says, well, I'm a stay-at-home dad. Because mom, I lost my job, mom goes out to work, and the relationship is not affected that way. Yeah. So it's all about our mental attitude towards our relationships, and you know, what value we put on them.
Now, the role of men in helping women move forward in life. What's your folks' take on that? How should men assist in women in moving forward in life? Or the role that men should play?
I would always say to my clients, God gave you two parents for some reason, male and female, okay? And I think that we have to look at strengths. Everybody has different strengths. There's some things that I can do that you can do, and we talked about that before. And I think the role of a strong man is to support the woman. If you see your wife she wants to become a doctor, support her. You understand what I'm saying? And that woman herself, when she becomes a doctor, she should realize that, listen, I did not do this by myself. I did it with the support and the help of my partner. And now, if in my family is important, so everything I earn, it should be where my family benefits, not just me going and buy buying an expensive shoes or driving an expensive car. And so I think men play a big role, whatever role they can play, so play it, because that helps to make you a better man. You understand what I'm saying?
All right. Dr. Duduba, your take on the question in terms of the role of men in helping the development of women?
Yes, I think that the men should really, their confidence level should be upkept. And they should not look at the situation where the wife, excuse me, if the income is greater, or if the contribution is greater in some way, or according to how society puts it, the profession. Sometimes we grade professions.
Yes.
So if the man is a farmer and the woman is a doctor, it's like her profession is on a higher level.
But in reality, it is.
Yes. So
you can't eat.
Well, so it's important across the board.
So the men should not let that affect them. They should hold themselves with the same level of dignity and confidence, no matter where, what the difference may be. And not give up. Men can be cowards sometimes. Not give up. Yes. The mental strength is sometimes can wane quickly, but they have to realize that they have their part to play.
Exactly.
All right.
And keep that up. And don't allow the progress of a woman to daunt you in any way.
All right. We do have a caller. Let's take a see what this caller has to contribute to today's program. Caller, good morning. You're welcome.
Good morning, GT, and good morning to your guest. This is Dr. Bois and the other one. I don't know his name. But it's a very good topic this morning. But I want to challenge something here. You asked a question about if the woman is the overall breadwinner, if the man step aside and let she take full control of the house, because she had the breadwinner. But let's go back to the beginning. When God make man and make woman, He make man as the head of the home. And I will tell you something. Each man have a rib because God take a rib from a man to make a woman. Each man have a rib. And if you have worried whether you fall into financial difficulties and the woman being successor, she don't want to rule the home. No, that's where on the side. So there should be equal partner. Sometimes, and I tend to blame the men sometimes too. I'll tell you why I blame the men. Because God makes us to be the rulers, the head of the home, not to be a dictator and not to be the one to be trampled on our feet. We're supposed to be at each other. But we do not take over our role. You know why? We allow our role to drop out because I don't know if we are weak or if we are afraid, but we allow our role to drop out. If you go into a program, so let's imagine a program to equip yourself educationally, you will find 200 women and you'll find one man. So the one must outpour the men because we're not taking up our role to stand up in society to help build society, and that's why society is so dumb because the men supposed to stand up and hold hold a slack end tight. We allow it to go slacker than how it should be, and so then it become that it is that when one make more money than a man, that she want to rule, but it shouldn't be like that because it should be equal. It should and love. Is a conquering being. If you love the person, you wouldn't want to try to overpower the person and say, well, I'm the breadwinner, let me rule the home. You know what I'm saying? There are certain circumstances that a man may never budget properly. And if the man can budget properly and the woman could budget proper more than him, allow her to budget. That don't say she rule, but she a good budgeter. She budget the home and you work together with the home. But you know you can't budget and you want to budget and then you have a whole problem. So well, will come in and the one who want to take over because you can't budget and you're trying to budget is just you can't drive where you want to drive. So that's how it is sometimes. And it's a very good topic, especially for the men to listen and to get a role, and for the women to realize that the man is the head. They shouldn't outpour them because the salary is more than them. And that is the problems the world suffers with because most times women have more money than men because they're more educated than the men. They hold a bigger job than the men. And you understand? So that's where the whole problem comes in. And if you could understand that we are made equal and you love the man and the woman love and the man love the woman, they would not have the problem about I make more money than you. The money come to the home. Your money, what you make and what I make, we put it together and we make it work to what you have to do, and we strive so high that the world is fighting to see how good that family come like. Thank you very much.
Thank you, caller. Thank you so much. Great, of course, contribution there from
wonderful
that
contribution.
Anybody wants
that gentleman should be on a show when they have International Men's Day.
All right.
Yes.
All right. Let me do have another caller. Let's entertain another caller. Caller, good morning. You're welcome.
Hi, good morning to you, Julie, and to two distinguished ladies, whom I know pretty well, especially one. And I'm no chauvinist. We know that Dr. Glen knows me well. She knows my family well enough. I have two daughters. I have no sons. I'm proud of my daughters and their accomplishments. But I think we are at a juncture where we have to recalibrate. I'm not saying that women should step aside, but we have to find ways of making it easier for men to advance. Let's put it that way. And these two are not mutually exclusive. They can both happen at the same time. The question you ask about the role of women, well, women are leading everywhere already. So if they fail, the society has failed. Because in education, probably 99% of our school principals are women. In the legal profession, in medicine, in business, in the magistracy, I think we now finally got a male magistrate. Before that, there were 100% women magistrates in Grenada. So that question about what role they should play, they are at the helm. And if they fail, heaven helps us, because we will be a failed state. Also, in that way of thinking, I've always said, and it's slightly different focus there to what the question, but I have always said that a community or a country is as good as its women. Not only are they very strong and they are tenacious, they work hard, they make sacrifices, but they also set standards for men. When I was a young guy, I used to tell my female students as a teacher, I said, the guys are looking up to you for acceptance. And if you set low standards and you accept mediocrity, disrespect, they'll find that you're being rewarded. But if you, on the other hand, set high standards, they will be forced to raise their standards. But if you look at what is happening today, to a large extent, this is not happening. And it's happening to the peril of our society. We cannot rise because the women who the men tend to look up to for some reason, to set the standards, the standards are plummeting. And they are not challenging the men to do better. The guys feel they could just do anything, they get acceptance. I mean, I'm the same lawyer who, all the doctors still would go down to the level and give them the car to drive. And while they're working in the office for the whole day, the guy has the car driving around doing whatever he wants and, things like that. So in that regard, in addition to the fact that they have the leading roles already, I think they too have an additional responsibility of setting standards also for our men. I think they can play a part in helping our men to step up. But if we keep the bar low, there is no need for them to do that. That's my contribution. Thank you.
Thank you, caller. Thank you so much for your contribution also. Anybody want to respond in terms of the policy?
That was my dear cousin. Yes. I note his concern, and what I would say is that the men and caller, for the comments you made and what you've noticed and what you've recognized, I think the men, if they're conscious of that, then they should also get together and strategize as to how they can rise.
Step up.
You understand? I don't think women has bulldozed their way into becoming leaders and all that. I think they chose freedom of choice. Before, women were subjected to becoming certain things. They weren't admitted into certain areas. And they themselves, to the self-esteem was low. It's like, I'm a woman, I don't think I'll get into this. Yeah. But there were few who really rose to the occasion and challenged and got in. But it never happened that way before.
All right.
But now, women have liberated themselves and gotten the freedom and the confidence to venture. And so the men used to hold that position before. So if the men are now, for lack of a better word, a little under the standard that they used to hold before, then I think the men should also examine themselves and look at the situation and say, when did that happen and what caused it to happen? And how can we reverse it? Or how can we, again, rise to where we used to be?
All right.
You see? But anyway, my dear cousin, I take your point, and I think you all should get on board with that.
Let's take another caller in this segment before the break. Caller, good morning. You're welcome.
Yeah, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Morning. Now, first thing I'm talking about standard of women dress code in this country. The women's standard dress code is out of order right now, fine. Women are advancing in it right now. The dress code is out of order. If you live in the Middle East, they them going in jail straight in the Middle East. In Iran, they go in jail. They kind of close the way to come to the city, man. It's a shame. The pride, what they call it, the standard and class, you had women in the 70s. Women in the 70s had standard and class, Only women wear pants in the 70s with Mama and pants magazine and the carnage. A woman coming down with a panty, they come in tongue and say they dress and then come in tongue and things with all tat all over their body and thing. I mean, what is standard they have in this time? Now, there is a woman pilot in St. Vincent right now. She fly the first flight to St. Vincent as a woman pilot. I remember the American Airlines, I think somewhere in the last second day. There is a woman pilot right now in St. Vincent, living in America. We have to have show standard as women. In the past, in any case, the family was like that. Men go to work, and women stay and mind the children and take care of this and whatnot. There was no day nursery putting children. But now they putting children in day nursery. So the law is supposed to get from the parents, not getting it in the day nursery. When you come and work past 5 in the evening, after 4 evening time, He pick his son, daughter from me, they don't sure carry them home. By the time I turn around, say, beat him, get them together, beat him nighttime, sleep in the morning, but I'm up and down, up and down, up and down. So children getting enough love from the parents. And when you're on a Saturday home now, when you're working on a Saturday and the home, you have to get the washing done, you have to get this, that, you have to get done, Sunday, but I'm cooking, but I'm back to square one again. So children need the love of parents to stay home and love and nourish the children when they're small. Not being at the nursery, and teach them and things and give them love and things. Because love comes from the home. Father stand up and hold you responsible as men. Father leads the children a lot. They drink rum and do a wrong thing, they mind the children. Men must mind the children, right through. Don't when they get big and they walk in, you see that my daughter and my son. But what part you play when you were small, Man hold responsibility as men in this time, Bless it for everybody.
All right, caller, thank you so much. We drew for a break. Let's take it down. We come back in our final segment when we do come back after the break. Stay with us, folks. Don't touch it out.
The agricultural shop at the Renick Thompson building on the Carna St. George's is the ideal place for your agricultural items.
GBN Television News at 7, a pulse on all things Grenadian. Look out for our new features through expanded synergies with our media partners in Barbados, St. Lucia, Jamaica, Trinidad, and beyond. Capturing the latest in news, sports, weather, and entertainment. Credible, informative. Thank you for making us number one. News at 7, live, Monday to Friday on GBN Television, Channel 7 and 11. K105.5 and 105.9, Hot 98.5 and 98.7, GBN Television Facebook page and YouTube channel, and www.gbn.gd. GBN, with you anywhere and everywhere.
Welcome back, listeners. Welcome back, viewers. Welcome back to my guest this morning. My next question I want to get before I see a lot of calls are coming. We're going to get back to the calls. So callers, just hold for maybe for 5 minutes or so. Let me just get this out of the way for a wee bit in terms of this question. The journey, especially the journey for both of you as women in your profession. How has that made a difference in your life, being a woman?
I never defined myself as a woman. Or I think I define myself as Tricia.
Yeah.
And my parents, I have good parents, and I came from a very close family. I grew up with my grandmother. And so I knew that there was no limits. There was no, Bob Marley speaks about mental slavery, free yourself of mental slavery. And this morning I was speaking to someone about Martin Luther King saying, I have a dream, and I said, he would have never thought that he would see a black president, but you and I live to see that. Yeah. And so you have to set goals, you have to set dreams, and there are struggles, there are challenges, there are days when you're like, I just making mouth, and then you would see that progress. I left Grenada maybe about 22, and then I went to Canada. It was so funny. When we talk about, setting goals and having dreams, I was in Grenada and I said, I want to go to law school. It was just a thought. And then when I got there, I went to college and I'm like, I finished, let me see what else I can do. Because I was an immigrant and I said, go to university. When I finished, I'm like, okay, what do I do now? I couldn't do my MBA. And I was at a store and I met a girl and I said, what are you doing? She's like, I just finished law school. And I was like, well, if she could go, I could go too.
And just like that.
But remember what I said is that since I was in Grenada, it was in the back of my mind.
Yeah.
And so we have to set goals and know what we want.
All right. Mm-hmm. Dr. Dubois?
Yes. I would not bore you with the details of the gap between my childhood and where I am now.
All right.
But
So, that might
I
be
grew up in a
program.
brief home. A home. My father was a farmer. My mother was a homemaker.
Yeah.
Right? And I grew up learning how to pick up the nutmegs and get the bananas and dig the yam and all these things I can do. I know about the land. I know about saddling the donkey, riding the donkey. I know about loading the donkey up and balancing it on two sides. I know all these things because my dad got sick when we were little, and I was the first of 4 children, and I had to take the lead. So I grew up that kind of life.
Okay.
But when I looked at how my parents worked hard and things were hard for us, and I know what it is to stay at home because I don't have a shoe for church, so I have to stay home. So I knew of hard life. And so when I said I have to learn in school, and when the scholarships came for Cuba, I applied for a music scholarship because that's my passion, it still is my passion. But there were no music scholarships, and my mom always wanted me to be a dentist. And the rest is history.
Interesting enough.
Yes.
Let's jump into another caller this morning. Caller, good morning. You're welcome.
Hello, good morning. Very good discussions going on, but I would like to just talk about 2 points. I remember that in some time the New National Party has moved through the government, move away the women's desk into the Ministry of Gender and Family Affairs. I would like you to elaborate some points on that. And with the amount of women, I think 7 women the NMP brought into the parliament. And also, what is your status of the upper, middle, and low-income bracket people in the society today? Thanks.
Okay, I'm not sure if anyone is to get into that level of it this morning.
I must say that I was never involved in government, in the ministry and in cabinet and so.
Right.
So that part of the women's desk and that, I cannot speak to that,
all right.
All right. And the state of the woman, the upper class and so, I don't know, as long as people climb the ladder of society in a fair and just manner, it's all power to them.
All right.
You grow from humble beginnings and you make your way up in a nice way. I think it's good for you. But the only thing I would say to this is that when we're at a certain level that may be a little higher than others, we must always remember where we came from and look back and help. And not only assisting by handouts, but assisting by encouragement and letting them know that, they can achieve and they can move forward and they can make some sort of progress and contribution towards society.
All right. Domestic violence is something that has always seemed to be one of the reasons why most women has not progressed as much as they can in our society and in the world as a whole. What's your take in terms of why of domestic violence and the reason why most women have not progressed because of that particular the way of life for them?
I think it's a double-edged sword because on the other hand, some women have progressed because of it. Because, a lot of it, in order to get, one of the key factors to get out of it is financial. So because women are financially independent, you would say, well, I don't have to remain in a relationship with domestic violence. But we also have to look at the mental and the emotional aspects of it. So I think it's a problem we grapple with, we're grappling with, and we're making progress.
Your take on that, Dr. Bois?
Yes, I want to agree. But I think women have come a long way because domestic violence was something that was kept under the carpet. There are so many horrifying stories and so much pain that women have endured historically. But we have to say thank God that, in our times, women have a voice. And we want to thank the organizations that have surfaced to to assist with being the voice for the woman, voice for the voiceless, and so on. But still, we have some people who still are afraid or feel intimidated or feel ashamed to come forward. But there's nothing to be ashamed of. We just have to speak out and let people know that we don't deserve that, and we are going to speak out and find a way to stop it eventually.
All right. Our conversation this morning, we're speaking of course, women in general this morning. We're speaking of International Women's Day. There's some events coming up. We're going to speak about that before we wrap. We do have a caller. Let's entertain this caller, then we get into our final comments this morning. We lost that caller. Caller via the WhatsApp. Good morning. Welcome.
Hey, GT, good morning.
Good morning to you.
Yeah, GT, I've been listening to the conversation, which is a very great conversation. But one thing I don't hear mentioned is the revolution. And the revolution opens so many doors for women, where women could go to Cuba and study. And then we had our ambassador and Decima Williams. And, you know what I mean? And also we have women in several different fields in agriculture. You know what I mean? And the conversation has shifted about towards men and how, you know what I mean? I want to see the conversation come back. Let me speak about International Women's Day. Because I remember the first International Women's Day that I could remember was during the revolution, where we had Winnie Mandela came to Grenada. And then we see the rise of women. You understand? So my question to the panel, I would like to know that some of the women that we see that made great impact in Grenada, as the Jacqueline Craft, Cynthia Jerry, and Decima Williams, and Miss Benjamin, if we're going to recognize them on the day of Women's Day.
Thank you, caller. Thank you so much for your contribution. And respond to the caller?
Yes, I cannot answer to what is being done by the government for women. And I know there's an activity that's being planned, but I am not involved in that. But yes, the revolution did a lot. I am a product of the revolution. And there were other governments who came, and because through the medical school, and just St. George's University across the board, you know, we've got scholarships from them as well. And Cuba still continues to give scholarships. So yes.
All right. No, you were telling me about a particular event that are planned for International Women's Day this year, of course. Maybe you could share some information on that, because, you know, time sometimes creeps up on us before we can wrap.
The women's arm of the new National Party is, I'm just trying to pull up here some of the details. We're planning an activity on Sunday, this coming Sunday, for all women at the Trade Center. It's going to be from 2 in the afternoon till 6, right? And we are going to bring our women together to see how we can have them participate in this forum. And we are going to have different presenters of, right, there we go, of different presenters of different topics. The whole thing is to empower women. Right. And get them involved where they're able to in their societies. And we're going to talk about the role of women in politics and in party politics. We're going to talk about the role of women in small business. We're going to have a presentation on women and emotional intelligence. And, you know, it's going to be very interactive. Right. And we're also going to have some fun because to close off, we might have some karaoke, you know. So right. It's not going to be just work, but it's going to be fun as well. So it's going to be at 2 o'clock, like I said, Sunday afternoon, this coming Sunday, March 10th, from 2 to 6 in the afternoon.
All right. All right, great. Let's take another call. Let's see this caller. Caller via WhatsApp. Good morning and welcome.
Morning, how are you?
Fine. Go right ahead with your contribution, please.
I've been listening to that program and I hear in the topic women, empowerment and things like revolution. Now, The Grenada Revolution was from 1979 to 1983. And Grenada Revolution, the period of 1979 to 1983, the world has changed. The Grenada Revolution was able to get international report, students going to Cuba and study, and so those days was the Cold War. Now there is no Soviet Union. Cuba has moved into a tourist industry country to survive. Now I'm living in Canada. I know what I'm saying. You could go to Cuba for $600 inclusive, because Cuba is suffering economic blockade. We talk about glorious revolution in Grenada and all those school in Cuba and all them place. Education is good, and they put Maurice Bishop on the $50 bill. I'm sure if Maurice Bishop was alive, he would not be ruling Grenada, because Grenada will go bankrupt. We don't have money to run the country because there was no Gaddafi, there is no Saddam Hussein. The Cuban Revolution is suffering. The Soviet Union disintegrated. The revolution had about 2,000 people in prison. So when we're talking about revolution, I don't know what we're dreaming about. And I was raised a Jew, and I grew up in the revolution, and I see they put, I hearing a lot of talk about the revolution now, but we're dealing with something 45 years ago. What revolution we talking about? The whole world has changed. So what revolution we talking about?
All right, caller, thank you so much for your contribution. It's almost time for us to take a wrap. Any closing comments before we take a wrap? You, Dr. Dubois and Tricia?
Go ahead.
I think I first thank you for the opportunity to be on and to be able to contribute as a woman to Grenada. Yes. You know, I came back in 2020 and I am trying. Sometimes I fall short, but it is to help women, to help families, to help our men, and to help our country. It's about nation building.
All right, great.
Yes. And Tricia is underselling herself that way, because Tricia, I don't know how she does it. Every opportunity she gets to post something that would benefit Grenadians, she posts it. Right. And we appreciate her for that. Right. And I just want to say that as a country and as women, Grenadian women, that we should hold each other's hands, support each other, and encourage each other to grow. And as the theme that we're going to use, say, invest in women and to accelerate progress. That is what we should be doing, encouraging each other. And it's not because we got to that point that we will forget those who are still coming along behind us. We should always look to stretch a hand, be each other's keeper, and help our women to continue to grow, and also encourage our men to step up, be who they're supposed to be.
All right, thank you so much. Dr. Dubois, Tricia, Simon, thank you both for being here this morning, sharing information. I certainly know you may have empowered a lot of women who are listening to us this morning who may not have you say women always stay back. And you were saying, hey, how are we not getting the women calling and we have more men calling this morning and of course sharing their views. I certainly hope of course this will trigger women to want to do more. And not that they are not doing, but maybe they can certainly do more, because sometimes you listen to programs and it always seems to be dominated by men. For some reason or the other. They are the one that seem to want to share their views more than women do. And some women do have great points that they will want to share, but sometimes they just don't feel that they, or as you say, maybe lack the empowerment to want to come to do it. You understand? So thank you both once again for sharing information this morning. Happy International Women's Day comes up, of course, on Friday. Happy advance to you both, and certainly hope the event that you have coming up, the women will come out and be part of it.
Yes,
thank you both
for
once
having
again.
us.
All right. Hey, folks, that's what we take a wrap for this edition of To The Point. Thanks to all who contributed to today's program, and have yourself a good one, folks. That's what we say goodbye. Have yourself a good day, folks, and goodbye once again.